to the podium to deliver some welcoming remarks.
Thank you to Ian for the introduction, and thank you to the Chesapeake Caledonians for piping us in so wonderfully. It's not often that government officials get to make such a grand entrance, but it does feel appropriate for a celebratory evening like tonight. So on behalf of the Scottish Government, I would like to extend a warm welcome and thank you to all members of the St Andrews Society of the Eastern Shore, as well as visitors joining us from Baltimore, Annapolis, or those like me who've made the journey across from Washington DC. So that's where I'm based, as Deputy Head of the Scottish Government's USA office, and it's in that capacity that the board have kindly invited me to say a few brief words about the strength and value of the Scottish American community, of which this society is a thriving part, and how that connects to the role that my team plays here in the States, promoting a modern vision of Scotland, carrying the historic ties between the USA and Scotland through into the 21st century. So I'll begin by saying a wee bit about the Scottish diaspora in the US. But I must confess, having only arrived in the States 5 short months ago, I feel like I have scarcely scratched the surface of the enduring ways that Scottish people have shaped American history, society and culture. So for example, I only learned last month about Abraham Lincoln's deep affection for the works of Robert Burns, Scotland's national bard, and a man very close to my heart, having grown up just a few miles from where he grew up. So the former president credits Burns with teaching him humanity. And it's strange for me to think that, after the president's assassination, Mary Lincoln and her son Tad made the pilgrimage to my own home of Ayrshire in Scotland. So that's probably not news to anyone in the room tonight, but I think it does speak to how the philosophy of egalitarianism and the worth of all men and women that Burns captured, and that many other Scottish immigrants to the USA embodied, has shaped the story of America. So we could talk for hours about notable figures of Scottish descent, those who made significant contributions to the American cause, the Scots who were signatories of the Declaration of Independence, or the industrialists and inventors who pioneered new industries that sustained whole communities here in the States. But perhaps more pertinent to tonight's event is the size and strength of the Scottish American diaspora today. So apparently, anywhere from 5 to 25 million people across North America claim Scots or Scotch-Irish ancestry. And the St Andrews Society of the Eastern Shore is just one of many societies, groups, charities and other bodies set up around this shared identity. So that's not something that Scotland or the Scottish Government takes for granted. Scotland's diaspora is an extension of Scotland itself, our living bridge with people, organisations and communities around the world. So through our diaspora, we have access to rich cultural partnerships, education and research exchanges, economic opportunities, and really just a friend in many communities around the world. There's someone Scottish or something Scottish in every corner, and I'm pleased to say that I found the time this afternoon to visit the Scottish Highland Creamery over in Oxford. So I want to highlight that Scotland's approach to engaging with its diaspora emphasises that we should connect not only with those who have Scottish ancestry, but also those who have an affinity with the country, perhaps by virtue of working there, having studied there, visiting there, or perhaps they just see something of Scotland in themselves. You don't need to have Scottish blood to have Scottish spirit. So last year, as part of the Tartan Day celebrations in New York, our Cabinet Secretary for Constitution, Culture and External Affairs launched something called the Scottish Connections Framework. And I actually think Niall put something about this in your most recent newsletter. So that framework is Scotland's first ever holistic and coherent approach to engaging Scotland's diaspora, recognising them as an integral part of Scotland today and of course of Scotland's future. That framework also contains a number of new commitments that I would love to see this society get involved with, whether that's signing up to our new digital directory of organisations around the world affiliated with Scotland, nominating one of your colleagues for a Diaspora Recognition Award, or feeding into discussions about how we can support heritage organisations to broaden their appeal to young people and ensure the sustainability of these societies for generations to come. But of course, I'm delighted to note that the Society of the Eastern Shore is a growing society, and I know that's thanks in no small part to the efforts of the organisation to keep its offering vibrant and in touch with the interests of its members. Whether that be rooted in tradition, whether it's about enjoying music and dance, exploring Gaelic and Scots, or participating in charitable efforts through the St Andrews Foundation of the Eastern Shore. So the Scottish Government is grateful for your philanthropic efforts, which will doubtlessly enrich the lives of people and communities on both sides of the Atlantic. So we thank you for joining us all in our mission to celebrate and promote Scotland in the USA, embracing the very best of Scottish tradition, while also promoting a modern vision of Scotland. And on a personal note, thank you all so much for welcoming me here tonight to share in your special evening.